Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Inside Coop. I'm Coop Jackson somewhere. So for today's episode, I want to talk about the link with video games and movies, or movies that involve video games in them. And then I'm going to, while I'm doing that, be making my homemade meatballs and chicken parm. So should be interesting. So to start with making this meal, I always start with the meatballs. It usually takes about 20 minutes in the oven, and then I like to let them sit in the sauce. So while it's in the oven, I'll be getting the chicken ready and spaghetti and everything else. So you start with ground beef, easy to find. I usually use about a half pack in here. It gives you about 20 meatballs. Then you add some dash of milk, an egg, some Worcestershire sauce, whatever, however the fuck you say it, and then salt, pepper, and maybe some garlic powder as well. Ground it all together, make some balls, put it on the tray, and then pop it in the oven. So while I do that, I'm going to start. One of my favorite movies that dives into video games or even the virtual reality type of realm would be Ready Player One. Ready Player One actually started out as a book written in the 80s and eventually was turned into a movie. But the book is about gaming. I'll give you some context. Directed by Steven Spielberg. It's about this trailer park kid in about like the 2035 time frame, so in the future. And he's telling us how everything's in the virtual world. There's this creator who created, I believe it's called the Oasis. He created the Oasis for everybody to just become themselves. Like, no room for bullying or anything like that, because everyone is something different. You could be a character, you could be a hot ass girl, you could be a crime boss. Whatever you want to be, you can be it. And so the movie's just about, one, having that part of self-identity. And as a comm major, that's something I found really interesting, having studied interpersonal communications, nonverbals, and all that. We wear faces, masks every day to try and cope with existence, to cope with the culture today. And with the virtual reality, with the Oasis, all that bullshit's thrown out because everyone is who they really want to be on the inside. So I think that concept's cool. And then it starts off with creating with the platonic relationship that this character met online. They've been friends, never met in real person, but they're best friends in the virtual reality, and pretty much everyone does everything in the virtual reality. You can play games, you can shop, you can go to the movies, go to a casino, win real money, go to a fake Vegas and whatnot. You can get married or whatnot, everything. But sorry, I'm getting distracted. So the movie starts off with this kid who is a lover of the Oasis and the creator of it. And the creators, when he died, said, I have built these 3 Easter eggs into the virtual reality, and if you find all 3, then you get my stake in the company, which is $500 billion. So for 5 years, everybody's after these eggs, and you can't find them. And then all of a sudden, this kid, after doing all these years of research, figures out how to beat the first challenge. And then the whole movie starts from there with him creating friendships with other egg hunters, actually finding a girl he likes and having a romantic relationship, and the confusion with that, because she even brings up, hey, I might be this dude who's 40 years old living in my mother's basement. So that's interesting. Ends up being a girl, so that's cool for the dude. But it's just really interesting with the visual effects that Steven Spielberg provides and how futuristic everything looks or could be. And it's just interesting knowing that, hey, this is the direction we could be heading towards. Everything online. That this sense of real without the consequences. So like, you could wear this full body suit that makes you feel and move and interact doing anything, playing a team deathmatch game, and actually get killed with no consequences. Yeah, you might get like a little shock just for like a little realness, but nothing lethal or even harmful. I did do milk. I did dash milk. Okay. So I'm very excited, hoping that hey, maybe we should be heading this direction. I would like to be in the Oasis. So if you haven't seen it, Ready Player One, awesome movie with great effects. Steven Spielberg knows how to tell a story. Give it a watch. But that movie also reminds me of another movie made a couple of years prior, Gamer, with Michael Seton Hall and Gerard Butler. I need salt and pepper. So, where pretty much like a death race type of situation where cons on death row get to become like avatars for these gamers who can take control, and if they win 10 battles, they get to be let go for free. Well, they get to be let go. And we follow this one kid who controls Gerard Butler. Throughout the whole time until he wins and is free. But it's just interesting knowing, like, could we have that technology where another human could eventually control another human? I think that's a whole other level of gaming, like black market gaming almost, where you can send in other humans to his real death. But that, I mean, interesting concept for a movie though. But they also had in the movie like the game Sims type of thing, but with real people. That's interesting because if you ever played Sims, you did some fucked up shit to your Sims family. Fuck, I forgot the breadcrumbs. Where's the paper towels? Shit. You did fucked up shit to your Sims family. So that's an interesting concept. Like, what if people signed up, got a healthy salary, but some crazy shit would happen to them by being controlled by another human being. So I mean, the movie's interesting. It's not like phenomenal, but it's an interesting concept. So I mean, bring me to another movie that is great, where you get kind of transported into the game or into the system or into that world, would be Tron. And if you haven't seen Tron, both the original and Tron Legacy, phenomenal. One, the original is phenomenal because it came out in the 80s, and with the technology that they had and what they did, it was pretty cool. And Tron is also old school gaming as well. So that's also appreciated. Gluten-free breadcrumbs. My dad's gluten-free, so I like to make gluten-free stuff. But Tron, I personally like the sequel better, just because of the visual effects. And plus, Daft Punk does the soundtrack, and Daft Punk's fucking phenomenal. They're legends. But Tron, another one of those gaming type of movies where it's real, where you get kind of transported into the world. To kind of sidetrack a bit to other movies, but more video game like movies, as in like movies that were originally video games that made successful movies. First off would be Mortal Kombat, one of the originals. I believe in '95 actually had a killer debut in the theaters. I mean, it's a hard concept to fuck up, guys fighting, but they were able to develop a storyline to where you can, like, there's some purpose to why they're fighting, and then like gives you a chance to root for the heroes because they're saving the Earth from an evil sorcerer and otherworld like demon god things. But Mortal Kombat, awesome video game. First movie was really good back in '95. The sequel was really bad. I would not watch the sequel. And I mean, with nowadays, with everybody like remaking everything, I don't know why we haven't remade Mortal Kombat or even had like a TV series about Mortal Kombat. One, I would follow a TV series that had Sub-Zero or Scorpion in it because they are just awesome. See that meatball? It's a good meatball. So yeah, so I would like in the future if they remade or did another interpretation of Mortal Kombat. I wouldn't say the movie was a success, but I was happy they made an attempt, which was the Mario Brothers, with Bob Hoskins and Joseph Lulagami. He plays Sid in Ice Age. He's also the mechanic in the John Wick. He's John Wick's friend. Yeah, that guy. He plays Luigi, with Bob Hoskins playing Mario, and Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper plays evil, like King Koopa. I mean, granted, it was an 80s movie, so not much of a budget or special effects. So you can't really blame them for that. They tried. There needs to be another attempt, pretty much. That's what I'm saying. But having played Mario Brothers, Mario Party, all the Mario games, you give it a watch because you're a fan. But Mario Brothers, interesting, not great, but if you're a fan of the games, I would give it a watch. A successful movie, or actually, which one came first? Probably Tomb Raider. I think Tomb Raider might have came first. So one, Angelina Jolie as Tomb Raider, fire. Lara Croft. Plus the movies were really good. They did a really good job creating a storyline about her wearing barely nothing but having action and being like an archaeologist, theologist, Indiana Jones type person. So Tomb Raider 1, great. Tomb Raider 2, good. Just a little different. And then the remake that came out in 2018, I thought they did a really good job with the remake. They made it different, which I appreciate, but also held a lot of the same concepts as the original movie. But Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, exciting movies, old school games, very much appreciated. But then probably a really more successful one would be Resident Evil. One, the games were highly successful, but then the movies, they made what, 5 Resident Evils? I stopped keeping track of the third one, but I mean, I thought they were really good. I mean, Mila Jovovich as Alice is phenomenal, and then in the first one you have Michelle Rodriguez, who's a badass. The second one, I think, is one of the better ones, where they pretty much lock down the city and it's every man for themselves. Alright, so meatballs are made, or at least formed. Alright, so we're going to pop these in for at least 20 minutes. Okay. Well, yeah, Resident Evil. Out of all the movies, the first 3 are the better ones. You can pretty much stop after the third. Third's actually really good, just not like it's like talking about the Lord of the Rings. All 3 are great. Personally, Two Towers is my favorite because the Battle of Helm's Deep is awesome. But yeah, for like this one, I like the second one. I think it's Extinction, or maybe Extinction's the third one. I'm not sure. There's just a lot of Resident Evils. Street Fighter started out as a game. They tried to make a movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean Van Damme pretty much is a video game character in himself. I mean, he's just a given. So recent movies. So we're gonna move on to the chicken, by the way. So recent movies that are like video game-like and involve movies. I think Wreck-It Ralph. Those 2 animations are do a really good job with bridging the gaming world and kind of creating like a separate, unique world for like games in an arcade for like they know each other and they can hang out. Plus, it's good because it reminds you of all those old video game characters that you used to know and play with. Um, be honest, after watching, I'm just like, it'd be really awesome if they made like a Super Smash Bros. Movie. Like that game is one of the best Nintendo games of all time. But if they found a way to make a storyline out of it, game over. Game over. So yes, I have a big bottle of white wine here. Usually I like to like pound the chicken, beat the meat. Yes, make all the jokes you want. Yes, I like to thin it out a bit, get it tenderized. I should have used tenderized. I like to get my chicken tenderized. That still sounds bad. Well, I like to tenderize my chicken before popping in the oven. Also, I like to use wine with my cooking. But yeah, Wreck-It Ralph. Excellent animation with John C. Reilly as the voice, and then, what's her fucking name? Jewish comedian. Sarah Silverman. She does the voice. She's super sarcastic, which is great. I love that type of humor. Plus, it's good for the kids. They have some adult jokes in there that the kids won't necessarily understand, but the adults will. It's just a fun movie. Graphics are great. Concept's really cool. Yeah. A lot of movies that people might like shy away from would be Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I mean, yeah, it's Michael Cera. You gotta take what you get with Michael Cera. But then Kieran Culkin's in it, and if you're a Succession fan, he's hilarious, and he plays a sassy gay guy in this, which is perfect. But yeah, I think it does a really good job kind of bridging like his mind being in a video game as if he were a video game character, which a lot of people kind of like go through life without. Like I personally like to go throughout life thinking I'm the star of my own TV show and I have an audience. Some people like to be video game characters. It's all just your preference, what you like to do. Okay. Now that we pounded the chicken with the wine, we're going to open the wine because you're thirsty. Okay, so yeah, Scott Pilgrim, interesting concept, cool graphics. One of my more like Michael Cera roles. I mean, there's always Superbad, and then his brief role in This Is the End, and then he's also hilarious in Arrested Development. But other than that, all his other movies, he's just like, it's just another Michael Cera role. Fuck, caught it. And I'm not dissing Michael Cera at all. He's has an episode in Hot Ones, and I thought it's one of my more liked episodes. I'm not going to say it's one of my favorites, but I like it. Let's see what I know. I'm forgetting a few others. Oh, Assassin's Creed. Awesome video game, great storyline. Michael Fassbender is the main character in the movie. He does as best of a job as do. It's hard to make a movie like that. They tried. I don't think they did a good job. It could have been done better. Granted, you don't know how much their budget was, but like I saw it once in theaters. I was like, okay, this is a movie. I saw it. I don't need to watch it again. So I might need to give it a watch. It might be better a second time. But I'd much rather play the video game than watch the movie. The game's just better. Let's see. Turn this on. And then World of Warcraft. That came out a couple years ago. I think about like 3 years ago or so, 3 summers ago. I actually really enjoyed it. They try to get all the characters in as they can. They created a storyline that was followable. And then, of course, I love all the actors. Travis Fimmel, If you don't know him, he plays Ragnar in Vikings. He plays the main character, one of the main characters. And then Ben Foster plays the bad guy. I'm a big Ben Foster fan. Usually plays that smart, schemy bad guy. But World of Warcraft, huge gaming around the world, so obviously it makes sense to make a movie. Doom with The Rock. I think they just made a sequel out on Netflix. Haven't given it a watch, but the first one, All-Star Crew with The Rock, and then what's his name? Not Keith Urban. Something like that. It's not Keith Urban, but it's the Australian guy who's in the superhero movie show that came out on Amazon. Anyway, babbling. But Doom, entertaining movie, very entertaining. One of The Rock's first acting, so you gotta give The Rock a break. But definitely worth the watch. I've watched it a few times. Not phenomenal, but definitely entertaining. Hitman. I actually enjoyed the movie. Starring Timothy Olyphant. He was in main character in Deadwood. It's been in a couple other movies. But a huge Justified. He was the main character in Justified as well. But Hitman, I think, does a really good job, kind of establishing that underground world of crime, hit boss, possible hitman, a hitman society. I thought Ninja Assassin did a better job of kind of like an assassin society, but that's neither here or there. But then Rampage, that was a joke. Come on, Rock. It was a great N64 game. You can't make a movie out of that. I haven't watched it, and I won't watch it because I play the game. I'm just like, they can never make a movie out of this. I want to keep the game as solid as it is. And then I'm going to finish with Pokemon. Pokemon, highly successful, probably one of the most successful ones of them all. Started with trading cards, the video game, and then successful movies and television shows. Pokemon still today is highly popular throughout the entire world. Still going on today. Still having like Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Go, or whatever they have now. I need to season this chicken. I usually just use salt, pepper, maybe some basil. Well, I want to put some basil in there. And then before tossing the chicken on the pan, we would do flour. Then you crack an egg, put it in a bowl. Then do both sides of the chicken and the egg, and then you do both sides in breadcrumbs, and then put it on the pan. Usually about 4 minutes aside, and you just check it to kind of get that golden brown color. And then once I get a golden brown color on both sides, and I put it on a pan. Put some provolone on it, and then pop it in the oven for about 10 minutes. But yeah, Pokemon, and then they recently had Pokemon Detective Pikachu with Ryan Reynolds. And anything Ryan Reynolds touches now is just gold. It's just pure gold. He's absolutely hysterical. And he's just beautiful to look at. You can't hate Ryan Reynolds. Yes, I'm seasoning it heavily. And yes, I put white wine in my pan. I like the sweetness of it. And also like a little bit of alcohol. And you know what? It's going to make your kitchen smell glorious. So we season that side. Flip it over. So, popular video game that I guess some fans made a TV show out of it. Red versus Blue. If you, a lot of people don't know it, but Red versus Blue, I think you can find it on Netflix or pretty much on YouTube. But a bunch of friends took characters from Halo and made a TV show out of it. They were in one of the big bulge cannon, and it's Red versus Blue. They create a storyline out of it, how they're fighting each other. It's one of the funnier random things you would find made by amateurs. So if you're a fan of Halo and you like comedy, I would watch like the first half hour, and if you continue to like it, continue watching. Let's see. I did salt. Now I'm gonna do pepper. Pour myself a glass. Doesn't matter what wine you get. I got Pinot Grigio. It's a big bottle. It was cheap. While I have you here, I do use red wine for my meatballs. After they're in the oven for 20 minutes, I put them in the saucepan. When I get my sauce, just usual tomato, basil, garlic. Put that in there. Do like a half glass of red wine. Toss some sugar to add that sweetness. Also put in some olive oil as well. Stir it all together, and then I top in the meatballs, and then I keep that stirring for about 5 minutes, coating the meatballs in the sauce. In my balls. So like I said, right before we put the chicken in the pan, you gotta do flour, egg, and breadcrumbs in that order. Crack the egg. Stir up the egg a bit. See, I can already smell the white wine burning off. It smells phenomenal. One more show or movie that's on Netflix that you can watch that involves video games and like movies or TV would be Video Game High School. Interesting concept, definitely a B movie or so, but it's just interesting bringing up how they create a whole high school surrounded by the best video game players. So yeah, before we go, I'm going to toss the chicken on the pan. Thank you so much for watching. If you continue watching each week, I want to try and have it, like I said yesterday, I want to try and have a theme or something going on with each episode. I think next time I want to try and make a chicken cordon bleu while discussing, let's go movies and books, successful books that became movies. We're not going to touch on the shows because that involve Game of Thrones, and we're not going to get into that. So thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Coop. Jackson's on the couch somewhere, and let me cook this chicken. Look at that thing. Coat it in flour, both sides. Oh, that wine smells good off the pan. Then soak it in the egg, and then put it in the breadcrumbs. approval. Stop. Drop. I'm also waiting for a Zelda movie, by the way. It's been way too long. Highly successful game. Easily could be made into a movie. I'm waiting for it. So, video games that I would like to be made into movies. Halo's already going to be made into a show. Paul Schreiber, he's going to be starring as Master Chief. Is this hot enough? Yeah. He's going to be starring as Master Chief. So that's going to be exciting. I don't think they could make a movie or video game off Call of Duty, but if they tried, I'd be interested, especially about Ghosts or Captain Price. I think that would be interesting. Of course, all the Bonds, but those started as movies before games. But yeah, Zelda, Super Smash Bros. As I said before. I'm sure there's a couple others. I'm just focused on the chicken right now. So we got the chicken on. It's going to be in there for another 5 minutes or so. But yeah, thanks for joining.